so that we may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Conformity to God's will is a key to the sacrifice of life of all the baptized. It also involves living in genuine love, contributing to the needs of others, rejoicing with those who rejoice, weeping with those who weep. Romans 12:9 to 21. So we are back where we started. Jesus' sacrifice or worship of obedience to the Father and communion with weak sinners is the same sacrifice that the baptized are asked to offer as a gift to the world. And this is so because we have received the life of Jesus first in baptism. And in every Eucharistic memorial of the sacrifice of Christ, we are taken up by the Holy Spirit into this life-giving power so that we can share it for the life of the world. It is ironic, however, that during the public ministry of Jesus, he was not always perceived as someone who offered a sacrifice pleasing to God. Instead of being praised for being obedient to God, he was frequently accused of disobedience, of transgressing the law of God. No wonder some people attributed his miracles to the power of the prince of demons, Beelzebul, rather than to divine intervention. His critics even took his repeated claims of oneness with God as blasphemy rather than as revelation of the truth about God. They concluded that God was not pleased with him as they were not pleased with him. He was dangerous for the nation. He was dangerous for the temple. For indeed, Jesus' sacrifice of obedience took on a seemingly disobedient or irreverent expression. And it is interesting to note that quite often Jesus was denounced as a disobedient violator of God's law when he showed compassion for the weak, the poor, the sick, the women, the public sinners. He offered new life to those considered impure by eating and mingling with them. He assured them that God was not distant and there was hope in God's loving mercy. But he himself got no mercy from his adversaries, only ridicule for disobeying laws that were supposed to embody God's will. Jesus suffered on account of his self-offering for those loved by God, but he never wavered in his sacrifice. In the process, he exposed the false gods that people worshipped, erroneous notions of holiness, and the blindness of self-righteous people to the advent of God. The worship of Jesus uncovered the link between worship of false gods and insensitivity to the needy. Those who worship false gods become insensitive to neighbors.